Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Boom, boom, boom. Making Gotham great. Shave your knuckles for justice. Oh, Joe Biden has got the most diverse cabinet we've ever seen. There's all these firsts. First woman in this position, first person of color in this one. Janet Yellen's one of those, first ever female Secretary of Treasury. Well, that's good. We need more diversity. We're not getting diversity of ideology in Biden's cabinet. No way. Janet Yellen wants to regulate cryptocurrency. I'm going to show you about that. And she really is going to, she was the first ever female head of the Federal Reserve, right? So, her job is to protect big banks. She's been paid heavily to do so. I'm going to show you that. The debate over Janet Yellen's speaking fees. Janet Yellen made $7 million for giving speeches over 2 years. How big of a deal is that? It's a really big deal. Just like, Steve Mnuchin, the former Secretary of Treasury, he was the former head of One West Bank. One West Bank. They committed mortgage fraud. One West Bank was one of the banks that bought up thousands of mortgages from IndyMac at 30 to 40 cents on the dollar and then forced people out of their homes. Mine being one of them. I'm one of the 6 million people that lost their home to foreclosure. And which is why I'm such a crypto proponent, because now I don't have to play in their system. Steve Mnuchin did it. He was the former head of One West Bank. So already there's a conflict of interest. He shouldn't be the secretary. It should be like an economist, like Richard Wolff should be the Secretary of Treasury, right? But no, this is why it's all corrupt and inside baseball. I'm going to show you right now. She got $7 million from who? From the Sierra Club, from Doctors Without Borders, no. The list of those looking for Yellen appearance includes Wall Street names such as Citi and Citadel and corporations such as Google and Salesforce. Oh, so she's going to protect working Americans, right? Isn't that what that list gives? Doesn't it inspire confidence in you? On top of collecting speaker checks from Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Barclays, Credit Suisse, PNB Paribas, and Google. So all these European banks, all these banks that help finance war, all these banks that bankroll big pharmaceutical companies and healthcare lobbies to make sure we don't have free healthcare in America, right? All these central banks that keep people and countries in debt. That's their goal. They want you in debt. That's why they back wars, because the best thing to come out of a war for a bank is everyone's in debt. You have to go in debt to fight a war. Doesn't matter which side you're on, right? Now, she's given $7 million in speeches to these big companies. And, you could say, well, hey, they're just paying. She talks. She's the Fed chair. She's the first female head of the Fed. So, okay, let's have her talk about the glass ceiling and everything like that. Maybe that's all she's talking about. Okay, then why won't she release the transcripts? It's like when those Hillary Clinton transcripts of her speeches at Goldman Sachs got leaked, and it showed that she said stuff like, we need to stop the anti-banking sentiment in America. She said that. Hillary Clinton said that. 2 speeches, $200,000 each, $400,000 total. This came out while she was running for president in 2016. She doesn't seem keen on releasing the speeches, which the Biden team say were largely question and answer sessions, some public, where she had no prepared remarks. This is how they control everything. And then they're distracting you by first female Secretary of Treasury. So you're not asking questions. Wait a minute. What about the $7 million? Is she just going to help out big banks on Wall Street? Well, they just paid her $7 million to make sure of it. You don't think that $7 million speaking fees had something to do with her becoming Secretary of Treasury? You don't think, and she was the Fed chair and Trump wouldn't reappoint her. So yeah, it's a stick it to Trump. So the dummy vote any blue will do crowd will go, yay, we stuck it to Trump and first female. But they're not going to ask, Is she going to help American people? No, she's going to bail out Wall Street, just like Steve Mnuchin did, who's another parasite who came from big banking. Steve Mnuchin donated to now Vice President Kamala Harris's, when she was running for Attorney General of the state of California, Steve Mnuchin donated to her campaign. So then when she was Attorney General, because One West Bank was operating in California, she had enough evidence to convict Mnuchin on bank fraud. But she said, oh, I don't know. Didn't gave him a stern talking to and a little slap on the wrist and took away their lollipop, but didn't do anything real, didn't put any policy in place, at least for Californians, to prevent this from happening again. And it'll happen again. And Steve Mnuchin repaid her by donating to a senatorial campaign. So she got appointed to the Senate in 2016. Great. And then when she was in the Senate, she voted for Steve Mnuchin to be Secretary of Treasury. Do you see why all this identity politics and the Republicans or Democrats or my party's better than your? It's ridiculous. Goldman Sachs has been in every presidential cabinet since Reagan. But let's talk about Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen clarifies her stance on Bitcoin, promises effective crypto regulation. Well, before she went, they asked her these questions when they went through the confirmation hearings. But a couple weeks ago, she said, oh, I'm going to heavily regulate. She's going to heavily try to heavily regulate crypto, specifically Bitcoin, because Bitcoin empowers regular people. Bitcoin undermines the American empire's real grip on the world is through the US dollar, the petrodollar and all of that, right? So they asked her at her confirmation hearing, and she tried to backpedal a little bit, but we still know what she's all about. Yellen replied, I think it is important we consider the benefits of cryptocurrencies and other digital assets. Before she just said they were all bad, but she's like, the benefits and the potential they have to improve the efficiency of the financial system. At the same time, here we go. Shout out to big banks. That's what this is. We know they can be used to finance terrorism. Well, the US dollar's never been financed for that, so that's good. Facilitate money laundering and support malign activities that threaten U.S. national security. And there it is. Whenever they want to do something that screws over regular people, the security, you're not safe. You're not safe. You're not safe. We need more laws to make you more safe. No, it's more laws to take more rights away from us, to make it harder for us to just earn a living and pay our bills, and to benefit the 1% who she serves. The 1% paid her $7 million to talk. They're expecting something in return. She's promising that. The threat to U.S. and the integrity of the U.S. and international financial systems. Integrity of the power of the American empire is what she's really saying. If confirmed, I intend to work closely with the Federal Reserve Board and the other federal banking securities regulations on how to implement an effective regulatory framework for these and other fintech innovations, Yellen concluded. Oh yeah. Regulation means trying to take the power away from you. Trying to monitor what you're doing. One of the things they don't like about crypto and Bitcoin, nobody knows what you have, where your wallet is. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what you've got. And they're like, oh, but it's financing terrorism. Yeah, you're right. And drug dealers. Oh, wait. Hey, cocaine kingpin arrested with a bunch of US dollars and gold chains and guns and a picture of Scarface right there. Oh, wow. Wow. Has the US dollar done anything? Has it been in anything else that's evil? US paid $500 million to make Al-Qaeda style propaganda videos. Oh, that's good. That was actually our tax dollars were used for that. Oh, but Bitcoin's evil. There's no blood on the American dollar. No, not at all. We're good. And to talk about that a little more, let's bring in Ron Placone. So Ron, what are your thoughts on Janet Yellen?
Well, I think she's another progressive champion, another great. The Biden administration has been crushing it, just shattering these glass ceilings and also draining the swamp. it's been so Washington as usual with all these warmongers and bank insiders, and it's been the case for so long. And here Joe Biden comes in and just a whole new set of ideas. It's not the same old thing at all. I mean, it is amazing.
No one is screaming, not even like Amy Goodman at Democracy Now! No one is screaming about these horrific conflicts of interest. Like the guy, I forget his name, who's first black man Secretary of Defense, who's on the board of Raytheon.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Avril Haines' history of torture and warmongering. I mean, it's just unreal. It's just first this, first that, and then we're not going to go any deeper, where really the script should be flipped. It should be, here's a huge conflict of interest. Here's somebody that is only going to support big banks in the war machine. Oh, and by the way, they're the first woman or first person of color. That should be like, okay, great. But that should be a footnote, who they really are, where they get their money from, and what their policy is going to be motivated, and who's truly telling them what their policy should be at the crux of any journalists.
And what their qualifications are.
Yes.
I mean, and yeah, this is something, and of course the Trump administration did it too, and the Obama administration did it before that, where it's like, you appoint these people for education that have no business being in education. You appoint people to housing that have these are all people. It's not, are you qualified to lead this agency? It's, how have you profited from this agency in the past, and are you ready to do it in my cabinet?
Yes.
I mean, that's American politics, 101. I mean, that's just how the game is played. And of course, Biden is doing more of the same, to the surprise of nobody. I mean, it's so interesting when you look at, it's so interesting because Donald Trump and Joe Biden, when you kind of look at both of them, they are really a perfect snapshot of just everything that's wrong with our system from every angle. You have this blank suit politician that is everything crooked and corrupt about Washington insiders. And then you have this other guy who's just this plutocrat reality TV star who was just the person buying the politicians and then figured, well, just cut out the middleman. I mean, when you really just take a snapshot, it's like these two figureheads represent everything that's wrong with our system. And here they are right at the top. Take your pick, America. And if you don't settle for this, you're the problem.
Yeah. Yes. And let's get mad at the people calling this out rather than demand that our parties are different. Like, that's what I love. It's so great. I've already heard the Graham, stop being so hard on Biden.
Really? People have said,
yeah,
he got the gig. He got the gig. What are people?
I know.
Why should anyone go easy on him now?
I was told to chill out by some dipshit on Facebook. Chill out.
Well, that's your first mistake. Why are you looking on Facebook? That's where
I wanted to smoke out. I knew it would be like dipshit Gen Xers and baby boomers who still drink this fucking lesser of two evil Kool-Aid. I knew it'd be dipshits like that. I knew it. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer.
Millennials do it too. Every generation does it. We can't. Yeah. Every generation has good and bad, but
yeah, they're just the lesser of two evil. But what? Chill out. He's only been in office 3 days. What is he supposed to do? And I listed all these executive orders he could have done. He could have passed Medicare for all, using the fact that we are in a national emergency with COVID, right? Because of COVID, he could have said everybody gets free healthcare. Could have done that. He could have done student debt forgiveness. He could have just stopped bombing. Instead, he rolled troops into Syria.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it's one pick after another of just corporate Wall Street warmonger, but then we just get the diversity of the ruling class. And she's in her 70s. Like, it's just like, what? Graham, ageism. You know what? Yeah, it is. I want to see younger people in charge of this country. I'm tired of old white people running everything and an occasional person of color. I really am tired of it. And I'm tired really of Wall Street people. And I'm tired of, and it's not exclusive ageism, because I don't want Pete Buttigieg anywhere near anything of power, because he's a power hungry psychopath. But
yes, he is.
Like, I'm just tired of these fucking puppets, be they young people or old, that just do the ruling class's bidding and screw us all over. These people have a lifetime of just taking big checks and screwing us over. Great. It's maddening.
Well, and getting it back to when you were bringing up the crypto piece of this,
Right.
I was actually looking up, before you brought me in, Fight for the Future. Shout out to them. We actually we did a show for them a little while back, and I've collaborated with them on a couple efforts for net neutrality and on facial recognition. They're one of the leading digital rights organizations in the country, and they do amazing things. And one of their campaigns right now is kind of focused on encryption, and our encryption rights, which basically guarantees us, as much a certain amount of privacy online and via our transaction. Well, those rights are being threatened because the government wants to, the government, as combined with law enforcement and other entities, that they kind of want to know what's going on, and they want to, get your data, and they want all of these things. And so that's something that we continually fight on the front lines for. Actually, thanks to Fight for the Future and some other organizations, Zoom had to commit to better encryption practices because, around the start of this pandemic, Zoom was not providing the greatest of encryption. They have to do better now. So that was a win. And this ties into cryptocurrency because the thing about crypto is it is, relatively just, anonymous. Like you just kind of have your crypto wallet and you go about that. And the powers that be don't like that because they like the almighty dollar and they like to really control what's going on. And they see this as kind of a threat to that. So now they want to start, rolling out these policies, and you kind of have to have your guard up to, kind of make the judgment call. Is this in the consumer's best interest? And it's also a threat to encryption in a lot of these cases.
Yep. And that's again, and they just want to try to regulate. That's why I did a video about a month ago about the Stablecoin Act that was introduced by really the Squad. And it's really crippling. And it's funny, Ilhan Omar was like pushing for it. And then all these people, because there's even a guy, and I've been trying to get him on my show. He has a book out, I believe, called Black America, Bitcoin in Black America, and talking about how it's where, the Black community can empower itself, and people all over the world, third world countries, people have been empowering themselves. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 to 3 billion people that are unbanked. They don't have access to banking, but they have a smartphone, so they can use crypto. And it's empowering people, like if you would have taken your $1,200 stimulus check in April and bought Bitcoin with it, it'd be worth $3,500 to $4,000, and there's nothing else that's doing that. And so they really are trying to regulate it in the Stablecoin Act. Again, they say, oh, it's out of control and we need to regulate it. It's just not regulated enough. I even had Fidel Kaboob on the show, who I really like and respect. And he's an MMT professor. He's an economist, but he was pushing the Stablecoin Act. And I'm so against it because that's the beauty of, because here's the thing, Ron, I can send you Bitcoin right now and the government doesn't know anything about it. I can send money to somewhere across the world. I mean, and this is the other thing that I'm sure they're trying to prevent. So somebody like Susie Dawson, right, who's a friend of ours, and she's a whistleblower. She's living in Moscow. She needs people to donate crypto to her because it's like she can't deal with the banks and the Russia banks and all the sanctions against Russia banking. So she can't do it. Same thing with like somebody like Snowden or WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks got on board with crypto early on because because the banking, thanks to the intelligence community, they were thwarting WikiLeaks from getting any money or donations to put actual journalism out. So they said, we'll stop their funding. They can't, we'll shut down their ability to get money for the bank. So we'll strangle them, we'll drown them financially, we'll starve them out basically. Well, crypto, they started using crypto, and that's how WikiLeaks was able to stay afloat and put out important stories. Like Vault 7 and on down the line, the Podesta emails, we could go on for hours about all the great stuff WikiLeaks has done. So that's another reason it's empowering activists. It's empowering, people helping out, sending money to the third world. Well, they don't want you to help out the third world because they need the third world to stay poor. So they'll work for $1 a week and we can take your resources and you have no power. You're not in the EU. So there's nothing you can do about it, basically. And they don't want these countries to suddenly go, oh God, our reserve currency is now, if some poor country turns its reserve currency over to Bitcoin and bails on the US dollar, that country suddenly has power. Oh, we can't let that happen. We want to put tanks in there to go take somebody else's oil or whatever the thing is.
We have democracy to bring.
Yeah, we got to shoot some democracy right down your face. Yes, we got to drone strike in some democracy there. So I can't find, and I'm not aware of every single cabinet pick yet, but is there any cabinet picks that you've come across that are like, oh, this person actually might be all right?
None that I know of. Yeah. That I can think of. I mean, are they out there? Maybe, but I don't know of any.
I know that was in the first indigenous woman for the Bureau of Land Management, I think. That I think, but I don't know that much about her. But then I don't know. There's nobody that I'm like awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the big thing with this incoming it's here now, but this new administration is sort of what can we put this guy in a corner and make him do that he probably doesn't want to do. Right. Anything positive that happens, it's like Joe Biden's not going to want to do it.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. They said in the chat she was Secretary of the Interior. Is that Native American woman? But I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I mean, to me, it's like there's a few promises that he made that it's like, okay, we need to really hold his feet to the fire. I guess maybe this isn't exactly the same thing, but I can say as far as like a specific cabinet appointment. But what he did do over at the FCC was he made Jessica Wurzenworcel, I always mispronounce her name, but he made her the acting chair right now. So she was already in the FCC, but he did make her acting chair. And I'm hoping he makes her just the permanent chair. But she has a pretty good track record on net neutrality. She has a really good track record on broadband. I think she would definitely be ahead in a way better direction than anything we've seen in recent history. She'd be infinitely better than Ajit Pai. That goes without saying. And I think she'd be a hell of a lot better than Tom Wheeler, too. I don't know everything about her, but as far as, that position and how she has behaved in the past, she votes the way you want her to vote. So right now, that doesn't mean much because the FCC is at a 2-2 split. So it's basically in deadlock. There's two Republicans, 2 Democrats. So 2 people who would vote to bring net neutrality back, 2 people who would just vote against it. So, but once there's that 5th appointee that Biden will appoint and then should get approved because of the Democratic majority in the Senate, hopefully it's a pro net neutrality voter. It should be. Joe Biden promised that, but my mom taught me actions speak louder than words, so we got to make sure we hold him to that. But yeah, so that is one thing that I am happy about. I was happy about that news. So,
well, I mean, if Joe Biden promised it, we put it in the bank.
We can rest easy.
I mean, it's done deal.
Especially if it has something to do with net neutrality. I mean, because the guy that started his campaign at a dinner with Comcast execs, he's got you. He's got your back. But no, I mean, yeah. So what?
I said, build back better.
Okay.
The worst.
Exactly.
The worst. I thought I'm with her was bad, but build back better is worse. It is worse than I'm with her.
I feel like they're kind of on par. I mean, I'm with her was just how tone deaf can you be to just make it all about you?
Yeah.
It's like I'm with her. But
if you're struggling financially and money's tight and you don't know what to do, Hillary's not going to get your back. You got to get the back of a rich white lady.
Yeah, you don't deserve her, really. I mean, that's why she was. But Build Back Better is just, I mean, there's a certain amount of honesty to it because it's kind of saying, don't expect much. This shit's a mess. And, I mean, presumably will be better than the other guy who's not listening to the science and medicine community at all. We might be a little better than that. So it'll be better, but I don't, shit.
So
I mean,
it's basically saying Biden 2020, manage your expectations.
Yeah, oh, totally. Which is, I mean, hey, his most honest moment on the campaign trail was nothing will fundamentally change. I mean, that was his most honest moment.
Build Back Better. I didn't even get it at first. I was like, what does this mean?
And it's been used before. I mean, it's been used in the past. Like, it's not a new slogan.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, make America great again. I get it. I get what you're saying, what you're trying to say. Like, there's a lot of holes to punch in that theory, obviously, but in terms of just a sentence, I get all right, I get what you're pushing. Joe Biden, build back better. Huh?
Well, it was a step up from his like when he was first asked, and it was obvious he was just on the spot and had no freaking clue. And he just goes, "Make America moral again." And it's like, oh my God.
Wow.
Really, dude? That's I mean, that when left to his own devices, that's what he's got.
It was so moral when they started the war in Yemen and dropped more bombs than Bush. That was so the moral high ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obama, Biden, White House.
The bombs were very polite.
They were tweeted well, and everyone in the Middle East is excited to get bombed with, rockets that have rainbow flags. I think it's going to make people, I think that's building back better around. That's what
there you go.
So the dignity in the kind of ways we bomb poor people. That's what we need.
That's building back better. Yeah.
Build back better, everybody. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and remember, shave your knuckles for justice. Ba-boom. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.